Hi, it's Alison from the Law School Toolbox. Today we're diving into essential tips for 3Ls who are gearing up for the bar exam.
So, if you have a few semesters of law school left, let's say you're not in the second half of your third year, what bar prep classes should people take, or is this even something that they should be worried about?
I mean, again, I think if you're going to take the next gen or not, look to see what's on it. But generally speaking, the one class I always think people absolutely should take, and some of them don't, is evidence.
You have to take evidence.
You need to take evidence. It is 1/7 of the MBE. It is not a topic that's that easy to sort of get on your own. So I took evidence my last semester because I wanted it to be fresh for the bar, and also because the judge I was working for told me I had to take it or he wouldn't hire me. And I think you need to take evidence. I mean, there are other ones maybe in that basket. Like, I kind of wish I'd taken Crim Pro because I took kind of an adjacent seminar that really was not accurate, as it turned out, about like the actual rules of criminal procedure. So I think that's another one that is tested on the MBE, not quite as heavily. It's kind of half of the crim topic. But again, I think that one's a good one. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I agree with evidence and criminal procedure. And really, how are you going to watch legal TV if you do not watch those shows?
Yeah, exactly. You need to know something about these shows so you can be like, oh, that's not accurate.
Yeah, I'm constantly criticizing legal TV.
It's like, or when like your friend or family member calls you up, it's like, the cops just stopped me and searched my car. Was that okay?
I know.
Because that happens.
It does.
I've had that question more than once. And I'm like, well, what did you say they were allowed to do? Yeah, you just consented to that. Sorry.
Yeah. So
next time, don't consent.
Yes. Yeah. I think that also it's important to just know what your friends are going to call you about. So I would say employment law, family law, criminal law, and evidence. Those are most of the, hey, lawyer friend texts.
Yeah. The family law, I'm glad I took because definitely get a lot of questions about that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think the ones that you can decide on are things like wills and trusts, which is, right now it's on the UBE. It is tested in California, but it's not the most complicated law. Although if you haven't taken family law or wills and trusts, there's some crossover in those classes. And so I do think that you might want to take one in that arena so that you have at least some basic understanding of that law. I know in California, they test community property. And so I did not personally take wills and trusts, but I did take community property and family law. And so I got some wills and trusts mixed in there because some of family law and community property is what happens when people die. And so I think that, you just don't want a whole part of this law to be completely different, or to be completely new to you. You want to have some understanding of it, and even if it's cursory. So if you have to go back and learn it for the test, it's not something that you have never seen before. I would put corporations in there for some people. You can learn it for the bar, but corporations, agency, partnership, all of that kind of stuff, it is kind of meaty. So if you haven't had any exposure to it, it might seem a little overwhelming.
Right. And I think corporations and partnership too. So you kind of get like multiple topics that are covered. I would say you almost certainly need to take the MBE classes, and whatever ends up being in the list of the next gen, because that is very detailed law they're testing. The essays, I think you can get away a little bit more with like, okay, I have a cursory understanding of the rules of community property. I understand the basics of wills and trust. I mean, those again are life classes. So depending on where you're practicing, they could be useful for your friends calling you up. But I would absolutely say nobody should show up to bar prep not having taken at least the basic MBE classes.
I know. I've got to say, if you are going to law school in California and you ever plan on being married, having domestic partnership, or a parent in California, you should just take community property so you understand what you're biting off. So I think it's wise.
And if you plan to own, and like owning property, turns out you need trusts, like all these things. I mean, there's some class. I signed up for wills and trusts, and then I dropped it to take federalism in the family as a seminar. And I think it's actually I would argue that class was actually really useful in the end, given everything that's going on in the country now. But I do kind of wish I'd taken like the basics of wills and trusts as well, just for basic life stuff, because like these are things that show up in your life. Like, you find out you need a trust when you own property.
What does that even mean? There are lots of different kinds. What does it mean to be a trustee?
Yeah. All these things.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching that one, and come back and check out our next question. And check out Bar Exam Toolbox if you want to reach out or learn more.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe, like, and leave us a comment if you have any other questions you would like us to answer in future episodes.